Welcome to the audio abstract for the physical activity and physiological profiles of elite international female field hockey players across the quarters of competitive match play. I'd just like to say a special thanks to Rob Pacey for the invitation and to my co-authors for their help during this research project. I suppose originally the game of field hockey was played in two halves. However, in 2014, the International Hockey Federation, so the FIH, changed the structure of match play into 4 quarters. Therefore, the aim of the current research project was to quantify the physical and physiological demands across position and the quarters of match play. Recent studies have shown that players cover, on average, 5.5 kilometres, with nearly 600 metres being covered at high speed. When the game was played in 2 halves, no decrement in performance was reported across the halves. However, defenders were seen to cover the most total distance, the midfielders covered the most distance at high speed, and the forwards were seen to have the highest work rate during competitive match play. These results were similar to that previously reported by McCockywich and Sunderland. Many studies have shown the use of heart rate monitors as a useful tool to measure the physiological strain experienced by players during training and match play, with the time spent above 85% being associated with improvements in aerobic capacity. Previous studies have shown elite international female field hockey players during match play to achieve a peak heart rate of 96% heart rate max and have an average heart rate of 85% during match play. Recent studies have shown match play to be played at a moderate intensity, with over 80% of the game being played above 70% heart rate max, with defenders spending the most time above 85%. During this study, 27 elite international female field hockey players were required to wear GPS and heart rate monitors during 15 competitive matches, with many variables being considered. So if we just go down to our results and discussion section. Okay, so our main findings were that an average hockey player covers just under 5 kilometres, with 44% of this distance being completed at a moderate intensity and a further 12% being completed at high intensity. Regardless of position, players were likely to cover more moderate distance in the first and second quarter when compared to the third and fourth, with less high-intensity distance being covered in the second and third when compared to the first and the fourth. When positional differences were examined, forwards and midfield covered more distance at high speed, with forwards having more high-speed entries than any other position. Again, similar to previous research, defenders were seen to cover the most total distance and were also seen to cover the most distance at low intensity. In regards to the physiological demands of elite female hockey players during competitive match play, our results showed that during match play, forwards spend the most time between 69 and 84% heart rate max, with defenders spending the most time above 85%. Interestingly, midfielders were seen to spend on average 50% of their time above 85%. Again, like all research, the results of the current study must be interpreted within the context of the study's limitation. Player skill efficiency and the team's tactical approach to each game could not be accounted for. With the results of this study in mind, we can then apply some practical applications. So if we just go down to our practical applications. So we suggest coaching staff should aim to develop drills and small-sided games that reflect match play and allows our players to mirror the demands of their positional roles, with specific nutritional and rotational interventions also being put in place during, after and before competitive matches. So thanks again for listening. We look forward to any other further discussion you may want to have. We look forward to hearing from you, and you can find most of us on ResearchGate and Twitter. So yeah, thanks again, Rob, for the invitation.